Belief about
I'm on the phone.
You on the phone?
Yeah.
You looking at my baby?
No, I ain't looking at him. No, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, man. Next time we come outside, don't be staring and shit like that. I don't like that.
I wasn't looking at him.
All right, man. Let's talk about make sure my mic on. Yep. Let's talk about Terrence Crawford and Canelo. I got a plethora of topics to talk about on this one. We're gonna talk about them at Allegiant Stadium. We're gonna talk about what Bozy had to say and what Jim Gray had to say about the layoff for Bud and the weight gain and all that stuff, right? So let's start off with the Allegiant Stadium thing. I'll be 2 seconds on this, figurative speech. I mean, I think, a lot of the subscribers let me know that it went from UNLV fighting on that, playing a football game there, and that's their home stadium, is Allegiant Stadium. So shout out to Mark Davis for allowing them to play there. But I think, now I don't know nothing, but I assume that probably a donation was made to UNLV on the behalf of the Saudis for Bud and Crawford to be the first fight at Allegiant Stadium. Now, if you know anything about Mark Davis, he be at a lot of the fights, especially the top ranked fights. He sit front row. He's Al Davis' son. He be at a lot of those fights, bro. So, for him to allow this fight to be the big fight, to bless it. I know they still ain't had a fight at the Spear. One of the positive things about fighting here than the MGM Grand or the Mandalay Bay, and somebody told me that they possibly could be tearing down the Excalibur and all some of that stuff over there and building something there. I don't know how true it is, but when you got those smaller, intimate venues, they gotta shoot the prices up. So at a football stadium, you might be able to get in there for $200-300. It's not a bad price for a fight of that caliber, right? So it's going to be a movie out there. I'll tell you that. There's going to be a movie. There's a lot of tension between black people, or between Mexicans in this country right now and towards black. So, at the end of the day, make sure you protect yourself going that way. That's all I say. Just make sure you protect yourself. Make sure, you protect yourself. But it's going to be an interesting fight. I believe wholeheartedly. And it's going to be, in my opinion, a one-sided ass whooping by Canelo Alvarez. I ain't going to say one-sided, but I don't really think it's going to be competitive. And I'm going to believe my eyes. And I'll break down the film. And a lot of times when I break down the film, I have a difference of opinion of it, right? And I'll break it down on Patreon. I might have a difference of opinion. Who knows? But yeah, it's a good look. I think it'll be a lot affordable at a football stadium. So, I think probably, in my opinion, or my assumption, or I'm just making this up, probably a contribution was made to UNLV, and they moved off that date. So that's how I feel. But I think it's, makes the fight more affordable for fans and more accessible. I think it might hold 70,000. I don't know how much for a football game. I mean, for a basketball fight, a boxing match, because of course you're going to have seats on the ground, but you got to close off a certain section. So, but I think it's a good look. But then you had what Jim Gray had to say. He talked about Canelo getting old, but the layoff for Crawford in the weight game. And for the most part, what Crawford is doing is bulking up to cut it all the way down to maintain the strength. Duran used to do it all the time. It's a common practice. Many people who know how to, many people lose weight, think you lose the weight, and then you come back and you bulk up. No, you bulk as you lose. And then, a lot of people don't understand the concept of that. So when you bulk, when you, like, let's say you fat and pudgy and you want to lose weight, you don't want to be soft. So you don't want to sweat the weight off and then you don't have no muscle tone. And, lack of muscle tone especially among seniors, lack of muscle tone is linked to Alzheimer's and dementia. You can look this up. So muscle tone is very, very important. It is very important. So I hate people that drive like idiots, bro. But yeah, all he's doing is bulking up to sweat it down, and keep a certain amount of strength. So, you know, everybody concerned about the bulk that he putting on. You know, he got all these people, you know, as far as you know, people that help, you know, his nutritionist and his strength and conditioning coach. He got all these people that can help him out, be able to make the cut. You know, so yeah, he gonna sweat that all the way down, maintain some of the strength he got. He gonna lose the weight, and he probably gonna come in, you know, if I had to guesstimate, he probably gonna come in about 163, 164. That's my opinion on it. And in my opinion, you know, that's what makes the most sense. That's what makes the most sense to come in at that weight. You know, be strong, and you know, people see how bulky he is up top. He gonna cut that down, and you know, and he's probably running with that weight. You know, he's probably running with that weight, bro. He probably lifting with that weight. He probably wearing a weight vest or doing something so he can get acclimated to moving with that weight. So when he cut the weight down, he gonna be even faster with the additional weight gain. So I know what he's doing. So yeah, that's what Bud got to do. Had to stop and grab something. But so what bothers me the most is not the weight gain. You know, as far as the body, most people say, oh, he's just gonna be too bulky, and you can just look at the difference between him and Charlo. Charlo, people don't talk about that. They just talk about him moving. You know what I'm saying? But Charlo had the weight gain, and he looked soft in the middle. I mean, Jesus Christ, he looked very, very soft. And I was telling people, you know, looking at his body, people, oh, he looked good, CJ. I'm like, nah, he didn't move up like I thought he should have moved up. I thought how his body would look moving up. I looked at him, you know, I'm like, nah, brother. I can already tell what type of party that was gonna be, and I said it. You look at Bud, he bulking up, but he's still shredded. Like his body is still shredded. So, you know, Charlo's got good genetics, you can tell. But Bud, you know, you can tell Bud is just he's a different type of body type. And I think he puts money, from what I see, into strength conditioning, nutritionist, and all of that. He's bulked up, and you know, you can tell that he's done it the right way. So they're gonna shade that down. They're gonna shade that down. I can tell it already. But the thing about it is, Charlo's coming off over a year off. I believe he fought Castanos in May, right? You know, came back. So May, June, July, August, September. So he was off about 16 months. Yeah, brother Charlo was off about 16 months. So, you know, Bud would be off about a year and a month, something like that. So, and they both was coming off injuries. He got his door open and shit. That's crazy. I think his door broke off his trailer. Yeah. Oh yeah, he got the door strapped on. I ain't never seen that. His door fell off his trailer. I don't know how the hell that happened. And he got the door from the trailer strapped on the inside. But yeah, I see, you know, so for the most part, they're doing it the right way. He probably taking this year off, gained away. They still running. He probably sprinting, running, doing things with agility. And Jim Grayson kind of was like, with the age and the weight and the layoff, and then the mystery injury that he had, you know, it might be an issue. But you don't really, you know, I think Bud has been working on mobility with that weight on. And mobility is just not in a straight line. It's lateral movement. He already got big, strong legs. So, you know, but at 37 years old, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I know he's been sparring. He's been in the gym. You know, for the most part, can he sustain the abuse? And the abuse is just not the punches that would be handed from Canelo. It's the physical strength of Canelo Alvarez, the leaning, the grappling, the inside. And one of the things that, kind of give one confidence and he can win this fight is similar to what I seen with Usyk. They understand how to fight bigger guys. You know what I'm saying? They understand the center of gravity. When you wrestle, you dance and stuff, you understand center of gravity. So he's going to understand the leverage. Now, Bozy was saying he should, punch and hold. He should grapple, he should clinch and hold, punch and clinch. And that can cause some frustration. But even to use that strategy to clinch and punch, it exerts a lot of energy. But the thing about Bud and Usyk, if you notice, Fury couldn't clinch him because Usyk knew how to drop his weight. When you sit there and you let a bigger guy lay on you, a lot of guys' first inclination is just let me get him off me. And all you're doing is just, you're not using gravity laws to your advantage. Wrestlers understand that. You know what? You're going to lean on me. Guess what? I'm going to drop the weight and get out of there. I understand the battle with hands. Once you kind of learn a little bit about wrestling, you understand the hands. I remember Malcolm in the Middle, Reese was wrestling that girl. She tore his ass up. That shit was funny. It's a hands thing. That's why wrestlers do so well in so many different sports. Is because they say if you can wrestle, you can do anything. Even in football, it's a game of hands. When you a D lineman, you taught to shoot your hands. They got you show them your hands as offensive lineman, you snatch them back. It's a game of hands. That way they think you shooting for them. You bring your hands back. Now I can control them. So even in wrestling, you're trying to control the hands. So notice when they drop their weight, they understand how to control that hand. How they on the inside, most people with wrestling background, they good at fighting on the inside. So Bozy is saying it makes a lot of sense because Crawford understands how to control the hands and drop the weight. And knows how to his center of gravity and stuff of that nature. Canelo don't know shit about that. So it makes a lot of sense. And I think the best thing for Crawford, and I'm not gonna talk about this video, is probably to fight him on the inside. That might be the best place to be at, is on the inside. Canelo gonna load up and throw big shots so you catch and shoot. He gonna load up and throw big shots. So you catch, shoot, return fire, you throw combinations. That might be the safest place to fight the average fighter today is on the inside because they ignore. A lot of them don't know how to defend themselves. They get on the inside. The defense is still loose. They put all their weight over the front foot. They don't move their head on the inside. He probably best fighting Canelo on the inside. That's probably the best place to fight him at. Make sure your defense is straight. You touch him to the body. You're going to load up with big shots. You know what I'm saying? Smother him on the inside. That's probably the best place to fight a guy. That's why if I was fighting guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, and I was fighting guys like Terrence Crawford and Mayweather, I'm trying to close that gap and get on the inside. I want to take their athleticism away. I want to take their range away. I'm fighting a guy like Tommy. I want to cut that distance off. It's easier said than done, though. When you fight a Mexican, it's a little bit easier because it's in their blood to fight that way. I like this blue on this Cadillac. It's in their blood to fight that way. And on top of that, they don't throw a lot of straight punches. So for me, closing that gap on a Hispanic fighter is for the most part, it's a little bit easier when you don't use a jab. It's a little bit easier when you don't use a jab. So that's all I pretty much, damn, man, come on, I can't stand these trucks. I can't stand them, dog. Like, why did you want to get over so bad, bruh? They get in front of you and still go slow, bro. I'm trying to get over, dog. I can't stand these trucks, dog. And I get it. He got cement. I get it. But you ain't about to go too much faster than this straight truck. That's what I be saying, dog. Like, Elon, drop the Tesla, driving self-Tesla trucks, please, bro. Please, drop the self-driving Tesla trucks. We need these truck drivers for Nito. Little truck driver, fuck you, CJ, man. We the backbone of America. Yeah, y'all is, bro. Can't stand y'all niggas though, man. Y'all be trying to drive like y'all got Ferraris. Y'all be having 35 tons on that truck, and the truck weigh 35,000. Y'all be having 35 additional thousand. That's all I had to say. Thumbs the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link tree, join the Patreon, find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, the whole 9 piece.